Have you ever wandered through the ruins of Skyrim and felt the weight of centuries pressing down on you? The kind of silence that hums with forgotten stories, where every crumbling stone seems to whisper secrets just out of reach. Tonight, we're stepping into one of those mysteries, a tale of hidden shrines, lost lore, and a map that shouldn't exist. Picture this, deep within Bleak Falls Barrow, where the air is thick with dust and the echoes of ancient footsteps. The Dragonborn brushes aside a layer of frost to reveal something extraordinary. A map, half buried and brittle with age, its edges frayed by time, but its symbols still sharp. A silent invitation to a place no one remembers, and that's where our journey begins. Before we go any further, we'd love to know, where are you joining us from tonight? Are you curled up under a blanket as the stars come out, or maybe listening with a steaming mug of tea as dawn breaks over your city? Let us know in the comments below. There's something magical about realizing how far these stories travel, and how many of us are drawn to the same mysteries, even worlds apart. Now, back to that map. Its symbols aren't just random scratches, they're a language nearly erased from history, tied to the Snow Elves, a people so shrouded in myth that most believe they're little more than a legend. But the Dragonborn knows better. Something about the way the ink curls, the way the parchment hums with a faint, almost imperceptible magic, suggests this isn't just a forgotten artifact. It's a key to a shrine hidden deep in the Jerall Mountains, where the wind howls like a chorus of lost voices and the snow never melts. The journey won't be easy. The wilderness doesn't take kindly to intruders, but when has that ever stopped an explorer? So grab your cloak and steady your torch. We're about to step off the beaten path into a story few have ever heard, let alone lived. And who knows, by the end of this, you might find yourself glancing at the next ruin you pass, wondering what secrets are waiting just beneath the surface. Ready? Let's begin. The mountain pass is a gauntlet of howling winds and jagged cliffs, where every step forward feels like a battle against Skyrim itself. Snow stings the Dragonborn's face as they press onward, the map clutched tight in their gloved hand, its edges fluttering like a trapped bird. Frost trolls, their fur matted with ice, lurk in the shadows of the rocks, their breath steaming in the frigid air. Each encounter is a dance of steel and fire, the clash of blades echoing off the stone walls as the Dragonborn fights not just for progress, but for survival. Then, just as the path seems endless, a flicker of torchlight cuts through the blizzard. A lone figure stands at the mouth of a shallow cave, his robes tattered, but his eyes sharp as a hawk's. Phallion, a scholar exiled from the College of Winterhold for delving into forbidden texts, warns of more than just the mountain's dangers. His voice is low, urgent, as he speaks of the shrine's true secret, an artifact known as the Whispering Shard, a relic said to twist the thoughts of those who touch it. It doesn't just speak, he murmurs, his gaze darting to the storm outside. It listens, and it remembers. The choice hangs heavy in the air. Turn back now, and the map's secrets remain buried, or press forward, risking not just the mountain's wrath, but the shard's insidious pull. Phallion's words linger like a ghost. Some doors, once opened, cannot be closed, yet the Dragonborn's fingers tighten around the map. Every ruin, every whisper of lost history has led to this moment. The shrine is close, and whatever waits inside, one thing is certain, it's been waiting for them. The wind screams as they step back into the storm, the scholar's warning swallowed by the snow. Ahead, the path narrows, the cliffs leaning in, as if to share a secret of their own. The shrine is near, and so is the truth. The air grows thick with something more than mountain cold, a presence, ancient and watchful, that prickles the back of the Dragonborn's neck. At first, the whispers are faint, like the rustle of dead leaves, but with every step toward the shrine, they swell into voices, layered and dissonant, speaking in a tongue that twists just beyond understanding. The torch in their hand sputters, its flame bending sideways as if pressed by invisible fingers, painting the snow with jagged, leaping shadows. Then, without warning, the wind howls through the pass like a vengeful spirit, snuffing the light in an instant. Darkness swallows everything until a pale glow fractures the black. The spectral figure is neither Nord nor elf, but something older, its form flickering like a candle caught between worlds. Its eyes, hollow yet piercing, lock onto the Dragonborn, and for a breathless moment, the whispers crystallize into a single, chilling sentence. You are not the first to seek the shard. The words hang, heavy with implication. Who came before? Scholars, thieves, fools, and what became of them? The ghost doesn't answer. Instead, it raises a translucent hand toward the shrine's entrance, where the stone archway is carved with symbols that pulse faintly, as if breathing. Here's the choice. Step forward into the unknown, or falter at the threshold. The ghost's warning lingers, but the map in the Dragonborn's grip feels alive now, its edges warm against the freezing air. Somewhere beyond that archway, the whispering shard waits, and whatever power it holds, it's clear the shrine itself is no mere ruin, it's a guardian. A tester, perhaps even a trap, but the Dragonborn didn't cross half of Skyrim to turn back at the whisper of a ghost. Boots crunch on frost as they cross the threshold, and the archway's symbols flare to life, casting the shadows of long-dead worshippers against the walls. The real trial begins now. The spectral guardian's voice doesn't echo. It seeps into the air like mist, wrapping around the dragon, born as it speaks. To walk the path of the ancients, you must first see with their eyes. Its outstretched hand dissolves into tendrils of light, reforming into the shape of a swirling symbol, a crescent moon cradling a single star, the same emblem etched into the shrine's weathered stone. The riddle begins not with words, but with silence. The ground beneath the Dragonborn's feet trembles, and suddenly, the ruins around them shift. Walls rise from the snow, pristine and unbroken, their surfaces gleaming with frescoes that tell a story in fractured glimpses. A snow elf priestess kneeling beneath the symbol, a great betrayal, a curse spoken in a tongue now lost to time. The ghost's challenge is clear. Name the one who shattered the covenant, and the path will open. But the answer isn't written in any tome or carved into Nordic ruins. It lingers in the margins of history, scattered like breadcrumbs. The Dragonborn's mind races, was it the Dwemer, with their machines and their arrogance? Or the Nords, their war cries still echoing in the valleys? The pressure builds, the frescoes begin to crack, their colors fading as if the very memory is dissolving. A wrong guess, and the shrine might seal itself away forever, taking its secrets, and the dragon born with it. Then a flicker of recollection, a journal found months ago in the depths of Erkenthand, its pages brittle with age, speaking of a snow elf elder who turned against her own people, trading their sanctum's location for a promise of power. The name had seemed insignificant then, just another footnote in a war long past. But now, it clicks into place like a key turning in a lock. The Dragonborn speaks it aloud, Jelliber. The ghost stills, the ruins shudder. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then the frescoes erupt in light, the priestess's painted eyes glowing with approval. The spectral guardian bows its head, and the archway ahead splits open with a groan, revealing a staircase spiraling down into the heart of the mountain. The air here is different, warmer, thicker, humming with an energy that prickles the skin. The ghost's final words drift like smoke. Remember, Seeker. Some truths are heavier than they seem, but the Dragonborn is already moving, boots scuffing against steps, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps that came before. The whispering shard awaits, and whatever it has to say, the real test is only just beginning. The chamber is a paradox, both tomb and living heart, where Dwemer gears turn silently beneath layers of dust, their purpose lost to time. The walls glow with Falmer glyphs, their jagged script pulsing faintly blue as if reacting to the Dragonborn's presence. And there, atop a pedestal of blackened brass, the whispering shard floats, its crystalline surface refracting light into impossible shapes. The orb doesn't just hum, it breathes, each pulse sending ripples through the air that distort the very stone around it. The whispers aren't just noise now. They're a voice, a plea, a warning, one step closer, and the chamber itself seems to inhale. The glyphs flare brighter, their light tracing the contours of a story across the walls. A snow elf queen, her hands outstretched to the orb, her face twisted in sorrow. Behind her, the silhouette of a Dwemer automaton, its gears frozen mid-motion. The whispers sharpen into clarity, the words archaic but unmistakable. She who wields the shard becomes its vessel. The truth clicks like a puzzle box. This isn't just an artifact. It's a prison, a soul trap, forged in the last desperate days of the Falmer, meant to preserve their memories even as their bodies twisted into monsters. But the orb's pull is magnetic. It sings in a frequency that vibrates in the bones, promising answers to every question the Dragonborn has ever carried. The lost cities of the Dwemer, the fate of the Snow Elves, the secrets of the Elder Scrolls themselves. Yet Phalion's warning echoes. It listens, and it remembers. The chamber's air grows heavier, thick with the scent of ozone and old iron. The glyphs begin to rearrange themselves, forming new patterns. A map. A spell or a countdown, then the choice. Touch the shard and risk becoming another page in its haunted library, or walk away, leaving the chamber's secrets to the darkness. The Dragonborn's hand hovers, trembling. Every instinct screams to turn back, but the whispers rise to a crescendo, and in their chorus, a single word rings clear: stay. The moment the Dragonborn's fingers brush the orb's surface, the world fractures. Time unravels like a torn tapestry, and suddenly, they're no longer in the shrine. They're standing in a city of crystalline spires, bathed in a light so pure it aches. The Snow Elves move around them, their faces serene, their voices melodic, speaking in a tongue that dances just beyond comprehension. But the vision is a trick, a gilded memory. The sky darkens, the spires crack, the air fills with the acrid stench of smoke and the screams of a people betrayed. The Dragonborn watches helplessly as the Dwemer machines descend, their brass claws tearing through flesh and stone alike, their cold logic leaving no room for mercy. The orb's power doesn't just show history, it forces them to live it, to feel the terror of the Snow Elves as their eyes are seared shut by the very ones they trusted. The visions shift again, a cavern deep beneath the earth, where the survivors huddle, their skin already twisting, their prayers to Oriel choked by the creeping dark. The orb pulses in the Dragonborn's grip, its whispers now a chorus of anguish. You see us, you hear us, but will you remember? The weight of centuries presses down, threatening to crush their resolve. Every heartbeat is a drumbeat of someone else's suffering, every breath thick with the taste of lost hope. The Dragonborn's own memories begin to blur. Was it their hand that clutched a child's in the dark, or a ghost's? Then a single voice cuts through the chaos, clear, defiant. A Snow Elf elder, her face lined with grief, but her back straight, presses her palm to the orb. Take our stories, she whispers, but do not let them be our end. The plea is a lifeline. The Dragonborn claws back toward the present, their fingers burning as they wrench their hand away from the artifact. The chamber snaps back into focus, the glyphs now dim, the orb's light flickering like a dying ember, but the visions leave their mark, a heaviness in the chest, a tremor in the hands. The whispering shard isn't just a relic, it's a wound, and it's still speaking. Fragments of the past cling like cobwebs, a name, a place, a final, desperate act. The orb's last gift isn't a vision, but a whisper of something deeper beneath the mountain, a secret even the Snow Elves feared. The Dragonborn staggers back, their minds still echoing with voices that aren't theirs. The choice was never just about taking the shard. It was about carrying its stories forward, or letting them fade into the dark. The chamber seems to hold its breath, waiting. The real question isn't whether the Dragonborn can bear the orb's power. It's whether they can bear the truth it revealed. The crunch of boots on ancient stone echoes through the chamber as a familiar figure steps from the shadows. Phalion's robes are singed at the edges, his face lined with exhaustion, but his gaze burns with urgency. He doesn't apologize for following, doesn't need to. The moment his eyes lock onto the whispering shard, his voice drops to a whisper, as if afraid the orb itself might overhear. You feel it, don't you? He murmurs, that pull, like a hook behind your ribs. His fingers twitch toward his own chest, where a faded scar peeks above his collar, a jagged mark, too precise to be an accident. A relic of his own foolishness, years ago, when he first sought the shard's secrets. The truth spills from him like blood from a wound. The orb isn't just a vessel for memories. It's a cage, and the spirit inside isn't some passive echo. It's alive, furious, and starving for a host. Falion's voice cracks as he recounts his own ordeal, the dreams that weren't dreams, the moments his hands moved without his consent, the way his reflection in the mirror sometimes smiled back with teeth too sharp. It doesn't just show you the past, he says, staring at the shard's pulsating light. It rewrites you, piece by piece, until you're just another page in its story. But here's the cruel twist: the spirit isn't some mindless predator. It's a scholar, a priest, a mother who watched her children wither in the dark. Her rage is a living thing, forged in betrayal, and her prison was meant to be a weapon. Falion's hands shake as he unsheathes a dagger, forged from meteoric iron, its edge etched with sigils that drink the light. This can sever her bond to the orb, he says. But once she's free, he doesn't finish. The implications hang like smoke. A spirit that ancient, that wounded, unleashed upon the world with no tether. Yet the shard's power is undeniable. Its whispers coil around the Dragonborn's thoughts, offering glimpses of libraries buried beneath the ice, of spells that could bend time, of the Dwemer's vanishing etched in stark, brutal detail. Phallion sees the conflict in their eyes and grips their shoulder, his touch startlingly cold. "I won't lie to you," he says. "I've spent years searching for a way to use it safely. But some hungers aren't meant to be fed." Outside, the wind screams against the mountain, a reminder that time is slipping away. The orb's glow intensifies, its light casting their shadows tall and twisted against the wall. The choice is here, the blade is heavy, and the spirit is listening. The spirit's voice coils around the Dragonborn's thoughts, smooth as spider silk and twice as sticky. You seek answers, it murmurs, its tone shifting from anguish to something sharper. A merchant's precision, a scholar's hunger. The chamber's glyphs pulse in time with its words, painting fleeting images in the air. A tower buried beneath the sea of ghosts, its doors sealed by ice and magic. A dagger carved from a falling star, humming with the same otherworldly resonance as the shard. A library, its shelves stacked with tomes bound in dragon hide, each page whispering secrets the College of Winterhold would burn to possess. The visions come faster, brighter, too bright, searing after images behind the eyelids. "I can show you," the spirit insists. "All of it. But first, you must." Phallion's dagger flashes between them, its sigils flaring crimson as he steps forward. "Don't," he warns, but the Dragonborn's fingers twitch at their side, torn between reaching for steel and reaching for the orb. The spirit's offer isn't just knowledge. It's a key to every locked door in Skyrim, every mystery they've ever chased. The location of the Crystal Tower alone could rewrite history, but then the whispers twist, slithering deeper. "You've seen what they did to us," the spirit croons. "The Dwemer, the Nords, do you think their descendants deserve such treasures?" The question hangs poisonously sweet, and suddenly the visions shift. Not ruins, but cities. Windhelm's streets running red, Solitude's arches crumbling under a sky black with smoke. The spirit's grief has curdled into something darker, its voice splitting like rotten wood. "Break the orb," it urges, "and let me balance the scales." Phallion's breath comes ragged. "It's lying," he hisses. "The relics it shows you, they're real, but that's not her memory, it's yours. It plucks your own desires like harp strings." His scar pulses under his collar, as if in agreement, a livid reminder of the cost of trust. Yet the orb's pull is magnetic, its light now strobing between gold and a sickly green. The spirit's voice drops to a murmur, almost tender. "You've carried worse burdens." The weight of the graybeards shouts, "The ghosts of Sovngarde, what's one more?" Outside, the mountain groans, ice cracking like a whip. Time is slipping. The dagger trembles in Phallion's grip, and the Dragonborn stands at the edge of a choice that could unravel more than just their own fate, because some doors, once opened, aren't just doors. They're wounds. The ground shudders violently beneath their feet as the shrine groans in protest, its ancient stones grinding against one another like the jaws of some great beast. Dust rains from the ceiling, stinging the eyes as cracks spider web up the walls with terrifying speed. A slab of rock, the size of a horse, crashes down mere inches from the pedestal, shattering into fragments that skitter across the floor like frightened insects. The orb's glow flickers erratically now, its light painting the crumbling chamber in jagged strobes, one moment revealing Phalion's ashen face, the next plunging them into near darkness as another section of the ceiling gives way. Phallion lunges forward, his dagger raised high, the sigils along its blade blazing like embers. It's now or never, he shouts over the cacophony of falling stone. Destroy it, or this mountain becomes our tomb. But the spirit's voice cuts through the chaos, not as a whisper now, but as a roar that vibrates in the Dragonborn's teeth. Would you truly let our history die with you? The words come accompanied by a final, desperate vision, not of destruction, but of salvation. The crystal tower's spires whole and gleaming, its halls filled with scholars poring over texts that could heal Skyrim's deepest wounds. The image is so vivid, so tempting, that for a heartbeat, the Dragonborn hesitates. That heartbeat costs them. A deafening crack splits the air as the pedestal itself begins to sink into the floor, the orb tilting precariously. Phalion's cry of warning is lost in the thunder of collapsing stone. The spirit's voice fractures into a dozen tongues, some pleading, some cursing, all weaving together into a chorus that threatens to drown out reason itself. Take it, screams one voice. Break it, hisses another. The Dragonborn's hand darts out, but toward what? The orb, with its promises of forbidden knowledge. Or Phalion's dagger, its edge humming with the power to sever the past's hold on the present. The chamber gives one final, heaving shudder. A column topples, its shadow swallowing the light. And in that last moment of clarity, the Dragonborn makes their choice. The sound of shattering crystal echoes like thunder through the crumbling chamber as the Dragonborn's strike lands true. The orb fractures into 1,000 glittering shards, each one catching the flickering torchlight for a heartbeat before dissolving into mist. A great gust of wind erupts from the broken artifact, howling through the ruins with enough force to send Phallion stumbling back, his robes whipping like sails in a storm. The spirit unfurls from its prison in ribbons of silver and blue, its form twisting into something vast and luminous. A woman's face flickers briefly in the maelstrom, her eyes wide with something between gratitude and terrible sorrow. Then comes the voice, not a whisper now, but clear as mountain water, ringing with the weight of centuries. Beneath the city that walks, where the blind watchmaker sleeps, the truth lies buried in silent gears. The words hang in the air like smoke, even as the spirit's light begins to fade, its edges fraying into the dark. Phallion gasps, his dagger slipping from numb fingers as he recognizes the reference. The walking city, he breathes, Markarth, but the blind watchmaker, that's no Dwemer legend I've ever. The shrine chooses that moment to rebel. With a groan that shakes the very bones of the mountain, the ceiling above the pedestal collapses in an avalanche of stone and ancient ice. The Dragonborn barely has time to seize Phallion's arm and haul him toward the trembling archway before the entire chamber folds in on itself like a dying breath. They emerge into the biting wind of the mountain, pass just as the entrance seals forever behind them, the snow settling over the ruins as if they'd never been disturbed at all. But the spirit's riddle lingers, sharper than the cold, somewhere beneath Markarth's stone streets, where the Dwemer's mechanical wonders still turn in the dark. Another secret waits, one tied not to the Snow Elves' sorrow, but to the very architects of their ruin. The orb's destruction lifted a curse, but the weight of its revelation settles heavier still, because if the Dwemer left something hidden so deliberately, so poetically, it wasn't meant to be found, and that makes it all the more dangerous. The crunch of snow underfoot has never sounded so sweet. After the suffocating weight of the shrine's collapse, the open sky feels like a reprieve, the cold mountain air scouring the last traces of that cloying, otherworldly whisper from the Dragonborn's lungs. Phallion staggers a few paces before doubling over, hands on his knees, his breath coming in ragged clouds. "I'd say we were lucky," he mutters, "but something tells me luck had nothing to do with that spirit's parting gift." His gaze flicks back toward the sealed ruins, now just another unremarkable slope of snow and rock. The shrine's entrance is gone, swallowed by the mountain, as if it had never existed. Yet the weight of what they've uncovered lingers, heavier than any artifact. Phallion straightens, brushing ice from his sleeves with hands that still tremble faintly. "Markarth," he says, the word hanging between them like a challenge. "City of stone and secrets. If the Dwemer hid something there, it won't be tucked neatly in a vault with a signpost." His fingers absently trace the scar at his collar, a nervous habit the Dragonborn now recognizes. The scholar's relief is tempered by something sharper. Anticipation, yes, but also dread. He's right to be wary. Dwemer ruins are never just ruins. They're puzzles with teeth, and this riddle, the blind watchmaker, isn't some dusty footnote. It's a thread pulled from a tapestry no one's meant to unravel. A gust of wind howls down the pass, carrying with it the distant cry of a hawk. The sound is startlingly ordinary, a reminder that the world outside the shrine hasn't paused for their revelations. Phallion exhales sharply, shaking his head. "That spirit showed you the crystal tower for a reason, not just to tempt you, to test you. It wanted to see if you'd cling to power or choose to break its chains." He meets the Dragonborn's eyes, his own dark with unspoken warning. "Markarth will test you too, and whatever sleeps beneath its streets. Well, let's hope it's not as fond of riddles." The sun dips behind the peaks, painting the snow in long, jagged shadows. Somewhere far below, the lights of Whiterun flicker like distant stars. It would be easy to walk away, to let the spirit's words fade into the white noise of half-heard prophecies. But the Dragonborn's fingers curl reflexively, as if still feeling the ghost of the orb's fractured edges. The truth beneath Markarth isn't just a secret. It's a reckoning, and whether they're ready or not, the city of stone is waiting. Winterhold's jagged spires rise from the cliffs like the bones of some long-dead leviathan, their frost-rimmed arches groaning under the weight of centuries. The college's great hall smells of burning peat and parchment, the air thick with the murmur of scholars debating spells over steaming mugs of mulled wine. But the moment the Dragonborn steps across the threshold, silence ripples outward like a stone dropped in still water. Eyes flicker up from tomes and alchemical apparatuses, some curious, others wary. Savos Aaron, the archmage, doesn't look up from his desk at first, his quill scratching steadily across a ledger. Then, without lifting his head, he says, "You smell of old magic. The kind that leaves scars." The Dragonborn's recounting of the shrine's collapse and the spirit's riddle sends the room into a frenzy. Urag Gro Shub nearly appends a stack of Dwemer lexicons in his haste. to cross-reference the term blind watchmaker, his tusked mouth twisting in frustration when he finds nothing. Feralda's fingers dance above a crystal orb, tracing patterns that make the light inside twist unnaturally, as if trying to form an image just beyond reach. But it's Talfdir who voices the unease thickening the air. Markarth's ruins are no secret, he says, tugging at his beard. But if the Dwemer went to such lengths to hide this particular secret, it's not some dusty relic. It's a contingency. Savos finally rises, his movements deliberate, his face unreadable. When he speaks, his voice is softer than the embers in the hearth. The Dwemer didn't just vanish. They unmade themselves, and whatever tools they used for that, his gaze locks onto the Dragonborns. They wouldn't have left them lying around like a misplaced hammer. If something's buried beneath Markarth, it's because they intended it to stay buried. The implication settles over the room like a shroud. The scholars aren't just afraid of what the Dragonborn might find. They are afraid of what might find them. Colette Marantz, ever the pragmatist, breaks the tension with a sharp sigh. So we're to ignore it, pretend we never heard a spirit's dying words. She gestures to the shelves groaning with forbidden texts. Half the knowledge in this room was deemed too dangerous by someone. Where do we draw the line? The Archmage doesn't flinch. At waking gods, he says simply. Outside, the wind screams against the stained glass windows, their vibrant hues dulled by gathering storm clouds. The debate rages on arguments about academic responsibility, the ethics of unearthing truths that could rewrite history or unravel it. But the Dragonborn's attention snags on a detail no one else has noted. Savos' left hand, resting atop his desk, has been tracing the same symbol over and over into the wood. A crescent moon, cradling a star, the same symbol from the shrine. The meeting dissolves into plans for research, for caution, for anything but action. Yet as the scholars disperse, the Dragonborn lingers, watching the Archmage retreat into his private quarters. The man moves like someone carrying a weight too heavy to name. And suddenly, the question isn't whether to go to Markarth. It's why Savos Aaron already knows more than he's saying, and what he's afraid of waking. The streets of Windhelm are slick with melting snow when the Dwemer finds them. He moves like a shadow between the brazier's glow, his face half hidden beneath a tattered hood, but his red eyes burn with the intensity of a scholar or a fanatic. You've been asking about the blind watchmaker, he says by way of greeting, his voice low and rough as gravel, a dangerous question to carry into Markarth's alleys. Ravin Sadri is no ordinary informant. His sleeves are stained with ash and alchemical reagents, his fingers marked by old burns, the telltale signs of a Dwemer enthusiast whose pried open one too many ruins. He claims his family once served House Telvanni as artifact hunters, and the stories he spins are almost too precise to be lies. Tales of a hidden vault beneath the stone quarter, its door carved with a gear-shaped eye, its lock humming with a note no living throat can reproduce. But there's a hunger in his words that sets the Dragonborn's instincts humming. He doesn't just want to help, he wants to consume. The deal he offers is simple: guidance to the site, in exchange for first rights to any non-magical discoveries. You keep your spells and your secrets, he says, shrugging. I want the machines. His grin is all sharp edges, yet the way his gaze lingers on the Dragonborn's pack, where the ghost of the whispering shards wait, still seems to linger. suggests he's after more than cogs and pistons. Time isn't just slipping, it's bleeding. Every hour spent debating is another chance for Markarth's underworld to catch wind of their quest. The Jerall steward has already been sniffing around the college's messengers, and rumors swirl of a new cult in the Reach, their robes stitched with Dwemer glyphs. Ravin might be a gamble, but he's a gamble with a map, a brittle, yellowed thing he unfurls with reverent hands. Its ink faded, but its markings unmistakable. The path it shows doesn't lead to the city's famed ruins. It leads under them, deep enough that the stones whisper. Phallion's warning echoes. Some hungers aren't meant to be fed. But as Ravin traces the route with a callous finger, his nail blackened by some long ago explosion, the Dragonborn faces the real question. Is he a guide or a predator? And does it matter when the alternative is walking blind into the dark? The descent into Blackreach feels less like entering ruins and more like stepping into the belly of a living thing. The air is thick with the scent of ozone and damp stone, the walls slick with condensation that glistens under the eerie blue glow of bioluminescent fungi. Ravin's map had warned of the depth, but nothing prepares the Dragonborn for the sheer scale of it. A cavern so vast the ceiling vanishes into shadow, its heights strung with ancient Dwemer cables as thick as tree trunks, their ends frayed and sparking faintly like dying stars. The ground underfoot isn't earth or rock, but a mosaic of interlocking metal plates, their surfaces etched with glyphs that pulse faintly underfoot, as if reacting to each step. And the sound, a low, resonant hum vibrates through the bones, not quite mechanical, not quite organic, like a heartbeat translated through gears. It's coming from somewhere deeper in the gloom, where the glow of the fungi gives way to the sharper, colder light of Dwemer lanterns, still burning after centuries. Ravin had called Blackreach a tomb, but tombs don't hum. Tombs don't have bridges that retract at the brush of a hand, or doors that hiss open with a gust of air that smells suspiciously fresh. The Dragonborn's torch flickers, then gutters out entirely, as if the cavern itself refuses mundane light. Then movement, a flicker at the edge of vision, too quick to be a trick of the shadows. The Falmer are here, their pallid forms nearly invisible against the fungal stalks, their chittering clicks echoing off the metal walls, but they're not the only hunters in the dark. Something larger stalks the platforms above a Dwemer construct, its brass limbs moving with a precision that defies time, its single, unblinking eye sweeping the cavern floor. It hasn't seen them yet, but the air thrums with a new tension, the hum of machinery rising in pitch, as if the ruins themselves are waking up. Ravin's directions mentioned a central tower, a spire of black metal, where the blind watchmaker supposedly slumbers. But between here and there lies a labyrinth of gears, gates, and things that watch from the dark with too many eyes. The Dragonborn's fingers brush the hilt of their blade. Blackreach isn't just a place, it's a test, and the real question isn't whether they'll reach the tower, it's what's been waiting there, counting the years until someone finally answered its call. The chamber yawns open like the maw of some forgotten god, its walls lined with veins of pulsating crystal that throb in time with the hum vibrating through Blackreach's bones. At its center, suspended in a web of Dwemer brass and crackling energy, floats the heart of the ruin, a monolith of jagged amethyst, its surface fractured with lightning like scars. It's not just glowing, it's breathing, each pulse sending ripples of light across the floor that illuminate the skeletons slumped against the walls, their rusted armor still clutching tools meant for repair, not escape. Ravin's breath hitches behind the Dragonborn, his usual swagger replaced by something ravenous. "You feel it, don't you?" he murmurs, stepping forward with a reverence that borders on worship. Not just power, sentience. His fingers twitch toward the dagger at his belt, not the simple steel he's carried since Windhelm, but a blade the Dragonborn only now notices. Obsidian hilt, Dwemer glyphs along the fuller, still faintly smoldering as if freshly forged. The truth clicks into place with cold precision. Ravin didn't come for scraps of machinery. He came to feed. The standoff is silent, measured in the shift of weight between boot soles and the slow, deliberate way Ravin angles himself between the Dragonborn and the crystal. "You've been useful," he admits, his voice shedding its scholarly effect for something colder. "But this isn't for heroes, it's for those willing to listen." His free hand rises, palm outstretched toward the monolith, and the moment his skin nears the energy field, the chamber screams. The crystal's fractures blaze white, and the whispers that have haunted the Dragonborn since the shrine erupt into a chorus. Not sorrow, now rage. Visions slam into focus. Ravin, years younger, kneeling in a ruin much like this one, pressing that same dagger to his own wrist as a Dwemer automaton's voice intones, "Blood for the pact, seeker." And the city will wake. The betrayal isn't just his, it's centuries deep, a chain of fools and fanatics, each trading their humanity for a shred of the crystal's knowledge. The Dragonborn's blade is halfway drawn when the ground lurches. The skeletons rattle upright, their empty eye sockets fixed on Ravin, their rusted tools now humming with the same violet light as the monolith. "You shouldn't have brought a thief to a covenant," hisses one corpse, its jaw unhinging too wide, the words spilling out in a voice that isn't its own. Ravin's smirk falters. The chamber wasn't sealed to keep intruders out. It was sealed to keep him in, and the crystal, it's not just watching, it's choosing. The air shatters with the sound of grinding gears as Ravin's dagger plunges into a control panel, its obsidian edge carving through metal like parchment. The reaction is instantaneous, a deafening shriek of machinery jolting to life, the walls splitting open to reveal rows of Dwemer spheres, their brass shells unfolding into razor-limbed sentinels. Their single eyes lock onto the dragon, born with eerie precision, but Ravin isn't finished. With a laugh that borders on madness, he slams his palm against the monolith's energy field, and the crystal's fractures explode with light. The cavern itself seems to recoil, the floor bucking violently as pipes burst overhead, spraying steam and arcs of blue lightning. Ravin's betrayal stings less than the realization. This was never a hunt for knowledge. It was a ritual. The constructs aren't just attacking, they're herding, driving the Dragonborn toward the chamber's center, where the crystal's pulse grows erratic, its light strobing between violet and a sickly green. Every step sends shocks through the metal floor, the glyphs underfoot now burning red hot. The skeletons, their bones fused with Dwemer wiring, lurch forward with unnatural speed, rusted tools crackling with stolen energy. One swings a chisel that hums with the same frequency as the monolith, and when it grazes the Dragonborn's arm, the pain isn't just physical, it's a flash of memory, a glimpse of Ravin's first pilgrimage here years ago, his hands trembling as he etched his name into the crystal's surface in his own blood. The constructs are relentless, but the real danger is the cavern itself. The air thickens with the scent of burning ozone as the crystal's energy lashes out in jagged tendrils, searing the walls and sending chunks of ceiling crashing down. Ravin, silhouetted against the monolith's glow, shouts over the din, his voice dripping with fervor. "You still don't see. This isn't a tomb. It's an engine." And it's finally awake. His dagger, now dripping with his own blood, gleams as he raises it toward the fractured crystal. The Dragonborn has seconds to choose. Stop Ravin and risk the cavern collapsing, or let him complete his twisted sacrament and unleash whatever sleeps inside that prism. A sphere lunges, its blades whirring, but the Dragonborn pivots, driving a torch into its eye socket. The explosion of sparks buys just enough time to spot the control rods along the chamber's edge, their sigils still dull. Unused, the constructs ignore them, their programming fixated on the intruder, not the machinery. It's a sliver of hope. Ravin's chant rises to a crescendo as the Dragonborn bolts for the nearest rod, dodging faltering constructs and leaping over fissures that spit geysers of scalding steam. The first rod sears their palm as they wrench it downward, the metal screaming in protest. The response is immediate, a shudder through the floor, a groan of gears reversing. One by one, the constructs freeze mid-motion, their eyes flickering out, but the crystal won't be silenced so easily. Its light pulses faster, the fractures spreading like spiderwebs, and with a sound like shattering glass, the monolith splits. Not into pieces, into shadows. Tendrils of darkness lash out, wrapping around Ravin's raised arm, his triumphant grin melting into horror as the void claims him inch by inch. His screams don't last. The shadows retreat, leaving only silence and the crystal's dimming glow. The cavern stabilizes, the hum fading to a whisper. But the Dragonborn isn't alone. Where Ravin stood, the air still ripples, as if something or someone is pressing against the other side of a veil, waiting for the next fool to bleed on the altar. The crystal's fractures widen with a sound like ice, splitting underfoot, each crack spilling tendrils of violet light that writhe across the chamber like living things. The whispers aren't just voices now, they're a storm, howling fragments of languages dead and unborn, all clamoring to be heard. The Dragonborn's vision blurs as the memories of 1,000 doomed seekers flood their mind. A Dwemer architect weeping as she seals the vault, a Nord warrior choking on his own blood as the shadows claim him. Ravin's first, trembling step into this very chamber, his dagger gleaming with ambition. The weight of centuries presses down, threatening to crush resolve beneath the sheer enormity of what's been buried here. Then, the choice. To the left, a control panel flickers, its runes scrambled but still faintly pulsing. The scholars at Winterhold had theories about Dwemer fail-safes, about chambers designed to implode rather than release their secrets. One well-placed strike could collapse the energy field, sealing the crystal's power like a cork, forced back into a bottle. But the risk is written in the scorch marks along the panel's edges. This machinery wasn't meant to contain something so volatile. The explosion might level the chamber, or worse, cascade through Blackreach's fragile ecosystem, collapsing tunnels and flooding the cavern with molten rock from the depths below. To the right, the crystal itself, its surface now webbed with fractures. Letting it shatter would release the energy in a single, catastrophic burst, but perhaps a controlled one. The Dragonborn's fingers brushed the hilt of a dagger, the metal oddly warm. The Dwemer didn't fear destruction, they engineered it. What if the crystal's breaking isn't an end, but a reset? The visions surge again, this time showing not just the past, but possibilities. The crystal's light scattering like embers, seeding new growth in the fungal forests, its whispers fading into the hum of the earth itself. The ground shudders, and a chunk of the ceiling shears away, crashing close enough to spray shards of glowing rock against the Dragonborn's boots. Time's up. The dagger flashes not toward the panel, but the crystal's heart. The impact sings up the blade like a struck bell, and for one suspended moment, everything is still. Then the world fractures into light. The explosion isn't fire and force, but something stranger, a wave of crystalline sound that races through Blackreach's veins, lighting every Dwemer construct in its path like torches. The cavern doesn't collapse, it breathes, the walls exhaling centuries of dust, as the machinery groans back to dormant silence. Where the crystal stood, only a single, perfect shard remains, its edges smooth as glass, its glow dim but insistent. It thrums when touched, not with whispers, but with a single, clear tone. The note the vault's lock was meant to sing, and from the shadows, something answers. The Dragonborns shout tears through the cavern like a storm, the thumb's power weaving itself around the fracturing crystal in threads of golden light. For a heartbeat, the energy writhes against the restraint, lashing out in jagged arcs that scorch the walls, then collapses inward with a sigh that shakes the very roots of the mountain. The silence that follows is deafening. No hum of machinery, no whispers of lost souls, just the faint drip of water echoing through Blackreach's hollow bones, as if the ruins themselves are exhaling for the first time in millennia. The climb back to the surface is long, every step weighed down by the ghosts of choices made below. Phallion meets them at the cave mouth, his face unreadable in the dawn light. He doesn't ask about Ravin, doesn't need to. The way his fingers tighten around his scar tells its own story. Some doors, he murmurs, watching the first snowflakes of the season drift over the Jeralls, aren't meant to be opened. But you knew when to close one. The words are meant as comfort, but they settle like stones in the Dragonborn's chest. Markarth's spires gleam in the distance, unchanged. The city that walks knows nothing of the abyss beneath its streets, of the hunger that nearly woke in its depths. That ignorance feels like a mercy now. But as the wind shifts, carrying with it the faintest echo of a melody, something old, something almost familiar, the Dragonborn's hand drifts to the single shard tucked in their pouch, still warm against their hip. The crystal is gone, but its song lingers, and somewhere beneath the tundra or the sea or the skin of the world itself, another lock trembles on the edge of turning.